continue to develop chemistry with some of these guys on the outside?
It could get heated today. I was talking to a Broncos staffer just off camera, and they mentioned that Emmanuel Sanders and Chris Harris, two of the best players on this team, are getting a little physical, little fisticuffs at a practice a couple days ago. So, you're at that time of camp where you're getting a little exhausted. You're pushing through. You're kind of climbing that mental hurdle, and we want to see the best from our guys compete every single snap. And hopefully it's competitive and not combative. You never know out here because there are fans. There's music, it's aggression, and I think our wide receivers will be up to the task to compete and push themselves.
If you don't have it right now, the second you get in the mouth for the first time, and it's coming, that first one-on-one drill you go against, whether you're a lineman, a receiver, a corner, first time someone comes up and wants to press you, wants to hit you at the line of scrimmage, you're going to wake up real quick and be ready to go. And those are always some of the great matchups. You talk about matchups of the week. Joe Staley against Von Miller. Von Miller has that contract under wraps now. He's signed, sealed, delivered, and will stay with the Broncos. So that's always a great matchup. See some of the best. All-Pro Joe Staley against All-Pro defensive MVP Von Miller.
Yeah, Dancing with the Stars Von Miller. And Joe Staley, entertainer in his own right. So definitely curious to watch that play out.
Best Family Feud champion.
Iron sharpening iron right here before us.
Joe Staley.
You know what I love? Stretching and things like that over the course of the years. It's not the old school everyone line up and do your right over left, left over right, arm twist and those type of things. So Chip Kelly bringing this added sports science and stretching to this team.
Joe Fann and Taylor Price here with you on 49ers Live, a special from the UC Health Training Center in Inglewood, Colorado. Joint practice getting underway between the Denver Broncos and San Francisco 49ers, both teams getting loose. There you see number 5 there. Weird seeing a quarterback, black jersey number 5. That's Christian Ponder, former first-round pick in 2011. That 2011 draft class, quarterback-wise, is coming together here. The San Francisco 49ers roster with Colin Kaepernick, Blaine Gabbert, and now Christian Ponder.
I want to give a shout-out to Gary Smith. One of our UK fans just tweeted at me. There's some talk of, is Colin Kaepernick practicing today? And Gary, he's in full kit. So we got to love our international audience watching us today. Yes, Colin Kaepernick is
on
in
the pitch.
He's on the pitch in the kit.
Boots on.
Boots are on, and he's ready to go. We'll see how much he's involved in practice, but mental reps are very important in this game. You can't just sit on the side and not be an active participant.
Yeah, Curtis Modkins mentioned it. I mean, this is a great opportunity to go against one of the best defenses in the league. Last year, the best defense in the league, reigning Super Bowl champs. We've been over that part of it, but I think, like you said, we don't know exactly what's going to happen with Colin Kaepernick today or this week in general, but it would be great to see him throw the rock because these are critical points. These are cornerstones of the competition that's taking place right now. And the more reps Blaine Gabbert gets, I mean, it's hard to fathom that Colin Kaepernick's able to keep it just because simply he's not practicing.
And Chip Kelly's maintained you want to get the decision right. You don't want to be first. And he likened it to the media process. If you have a story, you want to check your sources. You don't want to be first to print and be wrong and have it blow up in your face. So the coaching staff is going to do their due diligence, and that's a smart thing to do because it only behooves, like that word, the team to have the right guy in place September, 14th or 12th? I'm losing my train of thought. I think it's the 12th for the Rams. Monday Night Football. You want to have the right guy under center against those Rams.
We talk about matchups, Taylor.
Ooh, Tom Petty. Like it.
The DJ is on point here.
Yeah.
Talk about matchups and guys you're looking and watching. Maybe the most impressive group throughout this summer has been the defensive backs, especially those corners.
And young corners,
and you heard Keith Reeser, you heard Jimmy Ward, you heard Chris Davis all get praise from Chip Kelly following Sunday's game against the Texans. Well, another test is here. You had DeAndre Hopkins last week. Well, now you've got an overall probably more complete receiving core in terms of Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Cody Lattimore. 3 guys who are going to bring you different skill sets. You've got that alpha male, Demaryius Thomas. You've got that slot, split wide hybrid guy in Emmanuel Sanders, a guy who will still stretch the field and beat you with speed. And Cody Lattimore coming on, second or third year guy out of Indiana, but they expect big things out of him this year.
Yeah, I want to see these wide receivers and the DBs compete, and it's a fun thing to watch the young guys test themselves against a name, a store brand, if you will. They want to go up against the best players, and that's what you get to do. I mean, what Torrey Smith, Bruce Ellington, and Quentin Patton, their style of route running, and this, the typical route tree that they're running. The fact that they get to face this veteran Denver core is a good thing for this group as they're young guys. Tremaine Brock is basically the most experienced of the group. The others they're looking to earn their way in this league, and so you want to see what a Rashard Robinson can do, Will Redmond, what he can do as well. And I'll throw a name out, Dante Johnson. He's playing some safety, playing some corner. I know this game means a lot to DJ, and I think this is a good week for him to really push himself and get back up in the mix to play first, second team reps.
And then finally, you always got to watch the first round picks. Joshua Garnett, 28th overall pick. Forrest Buckner, 7th overall pick. Garnett saw north of 30 snaps against the Texans. Buckner saw 20. And you saw some good things from both. Like Chip Kelly said, some plays you want to have back. So now how do you build on that? How do you watch the tape, correct your mistakes, and build on it? Jim O'Neill said yesterday, in terms of DeForest Buckner, he did a good job of doing his job.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes a lot with rookies, right? You make sure you're not the one allowing them to get the big play, giving up, having the MAs. So you go from doing your job to making plays. And DeForest Buckner will try to make that process, that learning curve, happen quicker than normal.
I think it's time we talk a little Pac-12 49ers connection with our special guest. He's a Super Bowl champion. Special guest alert, folks at home. We have Dennis Brown. He's doing a great job with the preseason radio with Kate Scott of KNBR. Dennis Brown out here with the team.
And Keena Turner. Can't forget KT.
Sorry, Keith.
The OG KT.
KT's going to let me hear it. We want to welcome Dennis Brown. Dennis, appreciate you joining us at practice here today. What's the feeling about being out here and watching these two teams compete?
The feeling's good. This is such an advantage for especially the young guys to come out here. And it's hard to kind of duplicate game speed. But when you practice against another football team, it's a good way of getting ready for a football game. It's good for these young guys to practice against other teams and kind of get the feel. You can kind of work your technique. Something new to do instead of hitting on the same guy every day. So I can remember practicing against San Diego, when I was with the 49ers, and it was always, a good kind of gauge. You can gauge yourself and kind of see where you are with your technique, with your moves, with your reads, and get ready for a game.
Was that back in Stockton?
That was back in Rockland days.
Rockland, okay.
Yeah, so San Diego would come up every summer, and we would practice for a week. So it was always good.
How did you counter as a pass rusher against a new opponent? How did they're seeing you for the first time. This is an opportunity to work some different techniques. Or do you go to your bread and butter?
No, I mean, what happens is, when you practice against guys, for me it was like Guy McIntyre, Steve Wallace, Bubba Paris, those guys, Jesse Sapolo, those are guys that knew my bread and butter. They knew my move that I was going to go to. So it was always good to practice against someone else who did not know my moves or try something new, a move that, Charles was always good about showing us new moves. Work a new move, kind of work your technique and improve on your technique. So that's the advantage of coming here and in the altitude. I mean, these guys have an opportunity, especially the young guys, to get used to this altitude.
You had a great view of the 49ers preseason opener at Levi Stadium against the Houston Texans. On the call again with Kate Scott and Keena Turner on KNBR. What were your takeaways from that game, and who stood out to you?
Well, it was not one individual. I was really impressed with the running back crew. I think they really kind of showed, with Coach Tom Rathman, and they kind of showed where they are right now, and I can just see them improving on that. First preseason game is always kind of tough to watch and kind of evaluate because there's certain guys that coaches kind of want to see. But the running backs really kind of stood out to me. I want to see a little bit more on the defensive front, defensive line. The defense was running around making plays, pitched a shutout the first half. But the first preseason game is always tough. As we start moving on, this preseason coming up Saturday and then the following one, you really start kind of seeing what this team's going to kind of be.
If you've got questions, send them in here either for Dennis Brown or me and Taylor Price as well. What do you want to see here? We got live practice right now on 49ers Live from the UC Health Training Center in Inglewood, California. That too.
Huh?
Inglewood, Colorado. Dennis, who are you looking for at these practices? I mean, you said it's an advantage for the young guys.
Yeah.
Was there a particular matchup in general that you're looking forward to watching these next 2 days?
I don't know about a matchup, but, I heard you when I walked on the set here, I heard you talking about DeForest. I want to see kind of where he's at. He's got Charles Haley over there kind of doing a little tutoring for the defensive line. I want to see where he is at. I want to see, the Garnett, the first-round offensive line. I mean, that offensive line is going to be important for success in this season in this Kelly offense, and Eric Armstead. I want to see, what steps he's done. So I'm a defensive line guy, so I'm always focused on the defensive line linebackers.
Dennis, you won a Super Bowl with the 49ers, so you can relate to what the Broncos are experiencing right now. A little bit of an unsettled quarterback situation, but walk me through their mentality as they're trying to repeat, and how good of a measuring stick is that for this 49ers group as they're trying to be an up-and-coming group themselves?
Well, the attitude, I can remember, even coming in 1990 after the team had won 2 Super Bowls back-to-back. Every day has to be your A game. I mean, because every team will play at their highest level. So, this team right now, they won a Super Bowl, had a fantastic season. They have to play at a high level every single snap. And it's great that the 49ers, this young 49er football team, gets an opportunity to practice against these guys for an entire week, and it's nothing but good can come out of it.
Let's talk quarterback, shall we? I think that's one thing that the fans at home want to know about. So we mentioned Denver's situation.
Yeah.
Christian Ponder, it's his first practice here. He's wearing number 5. We're still monitoring Colin Kaepernick's situation. He was in the team periods handing the ball off yesterday. Mm-hmm. What do you want to see from the group overall? And Blaine Gabbert, your thoughts on his performance thus far in camp?
Well, I think the key right now is just to get better. I think with this entire football team, it's just to get better. And it's going to start with that quarterback position. And, we saw some good things Sunday on the offensive side of the ball. We saw them moving. We saw a lot of yards, more yards than we've seen in the last couple of seasons with the 49ers, and we saw a little consistency, and that's the key. If these guys can be consistent, if you can run the ball, pass the ball, and move the chains consistently is going to be important. Now, as far as the quarterback goes, it's still a competition as far as I know, and I see Collins out here today, and they're going to have to compete, and I like the fact that there's a competition, and I think it's good for the team. It's good for the to kind of find that leader. But that quarterback position is pretty important as this season goes on. I mean, it's extremely important. And, Gabbert is, he's had some good throws and he had some not so good throws in the beginning of the game. Had a lot of drop balls, too. So the receiving crew has to step up a little bit also. But consistency is the key.
Charles Haley, you mentioned what you learned from him. What are these guys getting out here from him as the Hall of Famer has been here for a couple of weeks now? Kind of everything he's got.
Yeah.
Giving it to these guys, these young guys on defensive line.
Charles is really interesting. Charles is a big jokester off the field. Once he gets on the field, Charles is 100% serious. I can remember as a rookie coming in, and we couldn't leave the field until Charles told us to after practice. And it wasn't to goof off. It was to go over pass rush, run progression. So these guys are getting – I just hope they understand what he brings. And he's a little different sometimes, but when it comes to this football and pass rushing especially, it's amazing the tools that he has in his toolbox.
And he seems like a passionate teacher as well. I mean, you think he enjoys this as well.
He'll get after you, and and what he really does not like is if you don't take him serious, because sometimes it's hard to take him serious, but if you don't take him serious on the football field, he'll get after you. He'll get on you.
Do you have a good Charles Haley training camp story?
A good Charles Haley training camp story. I remember as a rookie coming in, and I was a little heavier, and Charles told me that I would never play next to him, and he teased me quite a bit, and he used to take the picture of my then girlfriend out my locker and put it in his locker, but that's what Charles Haley did. But he taught me so much, and at the end of that season, I ended up starting nickel and starting next to him. My rookie season, and we've been really good friends ever since. But Charles, there's so many great stories about Charles that I could tell. Maybe I couldn't tell, but there's a lot of great stories about Charles Haley. But most of it's on the field. His intensity, during practice, his focus and things like that. Those are the stories I like to talk about Charles.
From a mental aspect, you get this far in camp. At what point are you just ready for the season? At what point does it get hard mentally, to fight those demons and wake up and be like, all right, I got to get after it. We're doing the same thing, but we got to get going.
It's different. As a rookie, you want camp to go forever because you understand that this is a different game. It's a different speed. The athleticism, the offensive linemen or defensive linemen, they're faster. You want it to go forever because you still want to kind of absorb some of this learning. Now, as a veteran, you want the season to kind of begin because, you've done it, you've been there, you've done that, you understand the process, you understand how to get yourself ready for a football game. But for the young guys, this could last forever. They want to continue to learn, and continue to learn the scheme, learn the setup and learn how this game works. But, in 4 weeks, the real thing kind of starts. But, as far as a vet goes, you're ready to do, camp can last one day for a vet, and you're good. You're ready to go.
That's the voice of Dennis Brown. Make sure you listen to him on the call Saturday. Broncos 49ers preseason. We get week 2, first road game. Excellent analysis from him. Make sure you listen to him, Kate Scott, Keenan Turner. Joe, final thoughts as we wrap up our show today.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and we appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back here again tomorrow. Be sure to stay with 49ers.com for complete coverage. It's all getting going here. We'll have you covered. For Taylor Price, I'm Joe Fan. We'll see you tomorrow right here on 49ers Live.